biologists. A biologist is a scientist who studies life, specifically organisms and their relationship to their environment. Generally speaking, biologists study humans, animals and bacteria to gain a better understanding of how the body works and how external factors influence each organism. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle is often not considered when it comes to great biological discoveries, but his work on the classification of living things was revolutionary at the time. Aristotle, whose name means the best purpose, was born in 384 BC in Stagira, Chalcidice, about 55 kilometers east of modern-day Thessaloniki. His father Neomachus was the personal physician to King Amyntas of Macedon. Aristotle was orphaned at a young age. Although there is little information on Aristotle's childhood, he probably spent in Macedonian palace. Galenos or Claudius Galen was prominent philosopher in the Roman Empire. Galen saw himself as both a physician and a philosopher. Galen describes his early life in On the Affections of the Mind. He was born in September AD 129. His father, Aelius Nikon, was a wealthy patrician, an architect and builder, with eclectic interests, including philosophy, mathematics, logic, astronomy, agriculture and literature. Antony Philips van Leeuwenhoek was a Dutch businessman, scientist, and one of the notable representatives of the golden age of Dutch science and technology. A largely self-taught man in science, he is commonly known as the father of microbiology, and often considered to be the first acknowledged microscopist and microbiologist. Van Leeuwenhoek is best known for his pioneering work in the field of microscopy and for his contributions toward the establishment of microbiology as a scientific discipline. Raised in Delft, in the Dutch Republic, Van Leeuwenhoek worked as a draper in his youth and founded his own shop in 1654. He became well recognized in municipal politics and eventually developed an interest in lens making, using his handcrafted microscope. He was the first to observe and describe microorganisms, which he originally referred to as animalcules, from Latin animalculum equals tiny animal. His 1670s discovery and study of the hitherto unknown microscopic world, or microbial life, is also considered one of the most notable achievements of the golden age of Dutch exploration and discovery, ca. 1590s-1720s, similar to the Dutch discovery and mapping of largely unknown land masses and far southern skies during the Age of Exploration. Robert Hooke was a Renaissance man, a jack of all trades, and a master of many. He wrote one of the most significant scientific books ever written, Micrographia, and made contributions to human knowledge spanning architecture, astronomy, biology, chemistry, physics, surveying, and map-making, and the design and construction of scientific instruments. Early life and education. Robert Hooke was born on the Isle of Wight, England on July 28, 1635. His parents were John Hooke and Cecily Giles. As a young boy, he impressed his clergyman father with his fine skills in drawing and his work on instruments such as clocks. His father believed his son was destined to become a clockmaker or an artist. Hooke becomes a scientist aged 20. In 1655, Hooke's career took a further turn towards science. His abilities in working with mechanical instruments had become very refined, and he secured work in Oxford as an assistant to one of the founders of modern. Robert Boyle. Hooke worked with Boyle for 7 years. During this time Boyle discovered Boyle's law with equipment designed and built largely by Hooke. Later years, Hooke became increasingly grumpy, engaging in a number of feuds with other scientists, often about who said what first. Hooke's most famous feud was with Isaac Newton. Hooke thought Newton had not acknowledged Hooke's ideas about gravity sufficiently. Robert Hooke died aged 67, on March 3, 1703, in London. He had suffered ill health for some years, but the precise cause of his death was not recorded. Thanks mainly to his work as an architect, he died a very wealthy man. Carl Linnaeus was born on May 23, 1707 in the village of Rashult in southern Sweden. His father was Nils Ingemarsson Linnaeus, a church minister and amateur botanist, and his mother was Christina Brodersen. This is a demo. Carolus Linnaeus is one of the giants of natural science. He devised the formal two-part naming system we use to classify all life forms. Carl paid close attention to his father's activities. He soon picked up his father's love of plants and botany. He began growing his own plants in his family's generously sized garden and walking further afield, searching for new plants. Carolus Linnaeus was knighted by the King of Sweden in 1761 and took the nobleman's name of Carl von Linne. He died at the age of 70 on 10th of January, 1778, after suffering a stroke. He was survived by his wife Sarah and 5 children. Tour of Today Hammarby is a museum which features exhibitions of Linnaeus's work, his botanical collections, and a garden and a park where his love of the natural world has been preserved.